Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationship Advice and it's by user Brono7. I, male 27, have been suddenly and cruelly ostracized from my girlfriend's female 27 family. So I, male 27, and my partner, female 27, have recently moved in together after dating for about a year and a half. We've been great for each other, spent plenty of time together, and have a healthy relationship by all normal metrics. Before we moved in together, I lived with my parents and she lived with her sister, female 36, and her family, who are the only family members she had in Perth. So, her previous relationship lasted 6 years, and she broke up with that dude, male 33, around 4 months before we started dating, roughly. He hadn't been a problem, as part of the reason they broke up is he did not want to move to Australia with her, which is where we live now. They were originally in the UK. We moved on with our life together and have been doing well. I met her sister's family, spent a lot of time over there, and made plenty of effort to become part of their family. I babysat her sister's kids, painted several rooms in their house, mounted a television to the wall, given people in the family rides here and there, and it was mostly going very well. Then lately, it suddenly flipped. Suddenly, I've come to be seen as a far inferior product to the ex. I guess he must have been in real tight with the family back in the UK and they must have stayed talking. He tried reaching out to my girlfriend a few times to reconcile or get back together, saying he was now willing to move to Australia. But she politely shut it down quickly each time, communicating she'd moved on. The family knew that damn well too, but he was trying to talk to her through them as she would largely ignore him, unless it was something to do with previous finances, etc. Girlfriends kept that open and honest with me. Well, my girlfriend and I traveled to India for a friend's wedding over Christmas, from the 18th to the 31st-ish. And guess who that sister invited to stay over at their house in Australia for Christmas? The ex. Initially, exactly lined up on those dates that we would be gone. Now, I know what you're thinking. Their house, they can be friends with whoever they want, etc, etc. Yeah, I know. But it was very inconsiderate of my girlfriend's feelings, who made it clear that it upset her, and they went ahead with it anyway. And even though it wasn't about me in any way, it did feel in spite of me. Anyway, here's the kicker. The dude didn't leave Australia on the 31st, he just moved to a hotel. This was in hopes of a last Hail Mary attempt to win her over, likely egged on by my girlfriend's sister. We went to their house on the 31st of New Year's Eve for a drinking party, but left early at like 11 because we were exhausted from the travel. The ex was promptly invited over as soon as we left. Sure enough, he tried his rom-com-esque Hail Mary attempt and texted my girlfriend a long paragraph asking to meet up so they could talk. She requested for him not to contact her again, wished him well, and deleted his number. The sister and her husband said that him staying in Australia for longer was not planned and just happened, and that they had no idea what would happen. But come the F on, Stevie Wonder could have seen that coming. My girlfriend's other sister, female 31, and her husband also came from the UK separately to visit. They hadn't met me before. We had a chat and basically said, "You seem okay, but we were supposed to hate you," as if it had been communicated to them. For the record, as much as my word for it doesn't mean much because I'm clearly biased, I cannot say I've done anything to wrong the female 36 sister's family. I've really tried for them. Sure, I'm not the most sociable guy all the time, and I'm a lot more quiet than they are. They are a loud chatterbox family. But I've been very careful over the last 18 months to not be rude and to show effort. To me, it seems like a highly orchestrated effort to undermine mine and my girlfriend's future in favor of the ex and then to hide it from me. I only know what I do because my girlfriend has been communicating as it happens, and the older sister has mentioned a few things drunk. It strikes me as chicken crap behavior from the ex too. He knows my girlfriend is dating again and didn't want him back, yet flew from the UK all the way here and then proceeds to only show up at the middle sister's house only when I'm not there. Personally, and this may be the confrontational former US Marine in me talking, if it was me, I'd tell my girlfriend how I felt about her in front of a prime Mike Tyson that disagreed. And I'm not that big nor scary. I want to keep my girlfriend. I love her, and this incident has shown that she's communicative and faithful and has truly chosen to be with me. Yet, with how much she loves her family, I'd need advice on how to best proceed to build that future together. I've broken down in tears by how rejected and betrayed her sister's family made me feel, and I do not want to continue to feel like this. How do I show at family events? I'm not a very good actor. OP, I don't think you have to act or keep this hidden or try to sweep it under the rug. I think you need to talk to your girlfriend. As you say, she has showed you and everyone else that she's chosen you. She loves you and she wants to be with you. Be honest with her. I would imagine she's pretty pissed with her sister, and regardless of how important her family might be, you are her future. She sees you that way. So talk to her about it. Come up with a plan together on how to move forward as a team. Because the worst thing you can do is keep this bottled up, try to put on a brave face, and let it fester, because that's how things go wrong. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's check out the community comments. Random Dar says, quote, I'm not the most sociable guy all the time, and I'm a lot more quiet than they are, end quote. Do not take it personally in the sense that it is your fault. Even if you were the walking charisma, I don't think it would change a lot in your relationship with in-laws. The drastic 180 hints that they have some motive. It feels like the ex offers certain benefits directly or indirectly. Otherwise, they would treat you like that from the very beginning. In regards to what to do, don't let the in-laws win. If you right now start doing ultimatums and behave antagonistically, they would win because they accomplished putting distance between you guys. Talk to your girlfriend. I bet she is hurt by all of that as well. Discuss what kind of boundaries might make sense in the situation and implement them. From the personal experience in dealing with in-laws, it is best when your girlfriend communicates those rather than you. Good luck, OP. And OP responds, we have a theory, though it's impossible to confirm whether it's true about the first part of your comment. Months ago, the middle sister and her husband asked my girlfriend to borrow $16,000 for solar panels. My girlfriend politely refused as she said she pays rent to them. She lived with them at the time, and that it wasn't anything critical like a medical or financial emergency. They buy the latest, greatest of all materialistic crap you could imagine. TVs, gadgets, a Tesla, a big-ass house, etc., etc. If they had priorities, they should have been able to do it themselves. It caused a big rift between them for a while, but seemed to be water under the bridge. Then, the husband went to visit family in the UK by himself in November, and we know for a fact he hung out with the ex. So, our theory is that the ex offered them the money in exchange for a chance to get my girlfriend back, and that the husband's tantrum is about how embarrassed he is about his end backfiring. This is somewhat supported by the fact that during an argument with the sister, my girlfriend was told, "At least he helped us when you wouldn't," which doesn't confirm it, but sounds like what happened. Phoenix25 says, I'm sorry this is happening. I think the best thing to do is to try and really focus on the fact that you and your girlfriend are a team. She chose you and is continuing to choose you, and that's not changing anytime soon. What did the older sister actually say? Because your post says your interpretation that she was supposed to hate you and not the actual words. Is it possible that the middle sister's betrayal got into your head on that one and you're super sensitive to familial rejection right now? As for your girlfriend's family, ultimately she is the one who needs to manage them. What does she want to do about this situation? What has she done already? Is the ex still in Australia or has he gone back home yet? It's worth pointing out that as much as you feel betrayed, this is far more of a betrayal for your girlfriend. Her own sister inviting her ex to hang around? That's breaking the code of sisterhood so badly that many women would consider cutting them off for a while. This entire conflict is in the hands of your girlfriend. It would not be good to try and change anything yourself. Decide what your personal boundaries are and share them with your girlfriend. Support her emotionally as she enforces them. If she doesn't, then that's an entirely different issue that you face. And Opie responds, while I would agree I'm sensitive to it at the moment, the older sister straight up said, I was told by the surnames to hate you, but don't worry about me, I'll form my own opinion. And since we started chatting, the older sister and her husband have been lovely to me. They've said they like me and support us, and have reassured me that they had nothing to do with what happened and are annoyed that they got thrust into it. Also, the ex has flown home. Good riddance. And Silent Yak 4331 says, first, your girlfriend needs to shut down the ex and her family. Get right to the point and say butt out. It doesn't need to be rude, but it needs to be a no ifs, ands, or buts conversation, and it has to be her. If they still don't stop, would she be willing to go low contact with her family? And she should be no contact with the ex. If she won't go low contact, then do you really see yourself happy in the long run? Before making any decisions, your girlfriend needs to stand up to her family. Alright, well, most of the community is telling that OP needs to work this out with the girlfriend and then together with the family. Also, OP shares his theory as to why the sister and her husband mostly are trying to get him out of the picture. Anyways, let's now move on to the update to see how this story ends. So I drafted my original post a few days ago, and since then my girlfriend has done what most people are suggesting. She's communicated to her middle sister and her husband that after her mom and other sister plus husband return to the UK, she will no longer be spending time with them, save things like kids' birthdays and Christmas. Her mother has aggressively chewed out both the middle sister and her husband and has made it clear that she supports me 100%. She loves me. The other sister thankfully seems to have decided to think for herself and given me a chance, and now seems to love me too. It has become apparent that this was the machinations of the middle sister's husband, and she's sort of just had to go along with it. The middle sister has accepted an invite to my family home for dinner with everyone else and seems somewhat embarrassed after discovering that my family are actually all sweet people and I have good roots. She must know that I know, but doesn't want to talk to me about it and won't ever apologize. On a negative note, the middle sister's husband has refused to quit. He told other friends of his to try and get under my skin so that I'd snap and look like a villain, which culminated in a friend of his hiding my military ring somewhere, leaving my girlfriend to chase it down. It was essentially attempting to goad violence out of me. The second and more egregious thing is he's told all the family and friends on their side that I faked my military service as, according to his research, there's no way I could have enlisted with a missing finger, ignoring the fact that it's partially of my ring finger and the waiver system exists in the US. He claims I didn't serve and basically he's calling me out for stolen valor. The family don't believe me as I have stacks and stacks of proof, but I can tell others do. Also, every time I show up at a family gathering in the backyard, he retreats inside and hasn't said a word to me or made eye contact. Coward. He hasn't showed up to anything where I'm around, even my dad's invite, and if I'm around, he quickly goes away. Girlfriend's mom publicly called him worthless the other day for a combination of that, plus he really doesn't help the middle sister with the kids or anything really. Well, OP, if we had to pick a winner between you, the ex, and the idiotic brother-in-law that you have, I'd say you're the winner hands down. You and your girlfriend are on the same page, her whole family backs you up, even the middle sister's kinda starting to come around. It's just her idiotic husband that doesn't relent. But that's his problem. You seem to be okay and happy. So here's wishing you the best in the future, OP. Thanks for sharing and take care. And now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user Significant Try 1044. Am I the a-hole if I go no contact with mother-in-law and father-in-law for threatening to call CPS? My mother-in-law texted one of my family members today, saying she and my father-in-law thought about calling CPS on me and my spouse, but decided not to. Basically, according to them, we are willfully endangering our baby by having multiple dogs in the household and fostering dogs through a reputable and responsible rescue. Ever since we were pregnant with said child, they've been making remarks that we need to rehome most of our dogs. We have 6 dogs of our own and 2 fosters, simply due to the number we have. My spouse and I know it's more dogs than most have, but we live in a rural area, have a massive outdoor area the dogs spend hours in, and don't keep or foster dogs that show any kind of aggression towards humans. It's not uncommon to have this many dogs where we live, and some people around us have many more than we do. Our yard is sandy, so the dogs do track in sand onto our hard surface floors that we vacuum daily. Because there is often some sand from letting the dogs in and our counters are cluttered, they consider our house dirty. By comparison, their house is always clean enough you could eat off their floor. The worst part of this all is they admit CPS wouldn't do anything. Our child is healthy, happy, and clean. Their doctor says they are in perfect health and the dogs have never so much as accidentally scratched, stepped on, or even looked at them wrong. We don't let the dogs in their bedroom or play area and actively train our dogs so they are good family members, either as our own dog or fosters. The dogs are also well taken care of, up to date on all shots, and friendly. They can be energetic due to their various breeds, but we make sure any rough and tumble plays outside in their designated yard. My spouse and I also work jobs that involve children and have been in situations where CPS had to rightfully be called. It stinks so much that someone would think to use CPS workers to bully us into rehoming our actual dogs and stop fostering, just because they admit they don't understand how or why we live the way we do. I think I'm more heartbroken than anything because I can't fathom why someone would even hypothetically put us through this. Even our non-dog loving family members have acknowledged our dogs are all very friendly and our home is a safe environment for our child. As much as I love each and every one of my furry toddler dogs, I know they are animals and would never keep one if I had any suspicion they could hurt my child or their friends. I know CPS wouldn't actually remove our child, but I can't stop wondering if every knock or phone call is from a worker starting an investigation. Would I be an a-hole if I ceased contact with my mother-in-law and father-in-law? I don't know if I even have anything to say to them. I don't know if I can even look at them. I can't even sleep because I'm worried they'll end up calling even though they said they wouldn't. Why would they even mention this? How can they say they love us and not acknowledge how much an investigation into a false allegation could affect our child, our jobs, everything? Sorry if this is all over the place, if anyone reads this. I know they never really liked us since my spouse and I are very different from them. I just never thought they'd try to do this to us, let alone trying to use my family against us too. Well, OP, it sounds like your in-laws are a threat to your family, so no, I think it's pretty much okay if you want to go no contact with them and also keep your child away from these people. In my opinion, anyone who could be considered as a threat to your nuclear family is persona non grata, not the a-hole. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. Kalakmak says, without addressing the pet situation, I think it is deplorable that your mother-in-law would threaten to contact CPS, much less via a third-party conversation. Your husband should probably take the lead in resolving this issue because they are his parents. Stopping contact will have serious repercussions between him and his parents. Ultimately, you need to take care of your immediate family first and foremost, not the a-hole. Dr. Governor says, mother-in-law, father-in-law, I understand it bothers you to see so many dogs in our home, so we're going to fix that by never letting you in our home again. Thank you for your invitation to visit, but we're busy washing our hair that day, whatever it is. And JRM1102 says, not the a-hole. That does seem like a lot of dogs, but you seem to have it all under control. I'd have your spouse speak to them and get to the bottom of this. Maybe they're giant a-holes or maybe they're just regular a-holes and this is a misunderstanding. So the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole and that the husband needs to deal with it. So let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. First, to address some questions in the comments. Yes, we do live in a rural area controlled by the county, not the city. There are no restrictions on animals as long as they are healthy and non-exotic. We have a lot of dogs for a city, but out here, people aren't even surprised when we say we have 6. Many have at least 3, then a variety of other animals on their respective properties. We just didn't want other animals as we've been involved in dog rescue for several years. Also, our household operates more like a small farm than a typical suburban household. Finally, my spouse and my own work schedules allow our household to operate the way it does. I won't go into specifics, but we'll say the way it is arranged allows one or the other of us to care for our child at home versus putting them in daycare. This also makes daily cleaning a lot more feasible, along with my spouse and I being very equal partners. Now for the update. I am going no contact with the in-laws for the foreseeable future, as is our child. My spouse is leaning towards no contact, but at the very least severely limiting contact. They have spent all day today after our phone call last night insisting that they weren't actually threatening to call CPS. They refused to understand why we were both so upset and kept trying to turn the blame back around on us, saying we weren't listening to them and the CPS comments weren't a big deal. This unfortunately fits a larger pattern of them trying to control our lives and being angry, disappointed, or annoyed that we just have very different lives. The fact my spouse and I are very equal and independent people is a constant issue they keep dancing around. Nothing about us is traditional, and despite what they claim, they don't love that about us. Most disagreement or attempts to control us come from these differences and why we should actually act more like them. Well, OP, I think you're making the right choice. You guys get to live how you want as long as you don't affect other people. And you don't. You're happy, apparently your kid is happy, and that's all that matters. Your in-laws are wrong and trying to control you is wrong, so good riddance. Thanks for sharing, OP, and take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.